righty. Welcome in and welcome back, everybody, to Sports Prophet TV. This is the MLS Live podcast. I am your host, Cooper, as always, also known as a Sports Prophet. And with me is my guy, Garrett, at JSomeFooty. And we are here to talk MLS Week 5 betting action. MLS takes the main stage this week because I think it's the only main domestic league in the world that's actually playing this weekend. So they will have the spotlight, and we are here to break it down for you, get you some winners. Garrett, we were talking a little bit about this week before we went live here. It's one of those weeks that some people might look at it and say, oh, there's so many people gone, this and that, whatever. We're looking at it and finding edges based on those absentees.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, there's definitely some games that I'm not touching in any way, shape, or form this weekend. When you have a big international window like this, where you've got, I think it's close to, I don't know, somewhere between 70 and 100 players out of the league, for their different countries, the variance just goes up. Okay, that's just going to happen. So there are some games where I'm extremely uncomfortable and don't want any action at all. But then there's other games where if it goes, the narrative that you think when you're handicapping it, then okay, that this you could actually feast here, right? Because there are some good lines out there for teams given who's available. But yeah, we've been extra selective this week, just because of that increased variance.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I teased it a little bit on the Twitter. We do have our first official 2-unit show pick that we will release on the show tonight, obviously. But before we get to that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. And just very quickly, I'll only mention it once. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. It does us, a world of good on the search engine optimization and all that good stuff, so some other people can see the show. If you're tuning in live right now, a special thanks to you guys. Pat yourself on the back. I know that we're going to get you guys some more closing line value. Closing line value has been really good all season despite the slow start, and we'll continue to do that for you guys. So, all right, let's jump into it. First game on the docket at Subaru Park in Philadelphia. We got the Philadelphia Union hosting St. Louis City.
So yeah, this is basically going to be a Philly fade for me this week, as we're going to do St. Louis draw no bet at plus 126 as they travel to Philadelphia. Philly's missing some key guys, man. Baribo, Gazdag, Blake, all key figures for this team in attack and in the goal. Blake is just still one of the best goalkeepers in the league year in and year out. These guys are just all integral to that Philly side. St. Louis has started the season well. They've gotten 4 points through 2 away games so far. I am doing draw no bet here for some safety. I think their money line's plus 200, right around there. But yeah, you're going to take the safety here. Like I said, increased variance, when you're missing guys. But with key pieces, missing in Philly's attack, I just think this is a good spot for St. Louis to at least pick up a point. I absolutely see a world where they come in and win. But yeah, I think a plus money with a good St. Louis side, I'm really liking as I watch them more. No Blake. We've seen it, man. This Philly side, when they are missing Blake, when they're missing key players in that spine, they can leak. And they leaked against Nashville, even with those guys in. So yeah, I like St. Louis a lot here. Again, I'll be looking at trying to get Hartle and score and assist, depending if the line's good or not, as we get closer to the game with props coming out. But yeah, plus 126 here, I think is a really good line for a St. Louis side getting a Philly at a disadvantage.
Yeah, Philadelphia, also another guy in defense that they'll be missing is Frankie Westfield, who started last couple games at right back, I think. So it's another defensive guy they'll be missing. They allowed 6 big chances last week and had 3 goals put in on them at home against your Nashville SC. So St. Louis City, on the other side of this one, they're undefeated this year. Last two games, they won on the road at LA Galaxy, and then they won at home against the Sounders. Neither of those were fluky results. They dominated the stat lines, all the analytics and stuff that we like to look at. They had the better of their opponent in the last two games. So fair results. It's a team we talked about before the year, man. We were like, what are we missing with the St. Louis City team? Because they were like third or fourth to last on the odds as far as like the books had them power rated as the third or fourth worst team in Major League Soccer. And that just seemed way off. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to win the whole thing, but I mean, I think they'll have a run at the playoffs, and they've been playing good lately. And that just seemed like value and felt like they were going to be undervalued by the books. And so far this season, they have. I don't know if João Klaus is hurt or not. I'm not sure, but I saw them start Cedric Tuchert up top last game, which I actually like because I haven't really liked what I've seen so far from Klaus this season. And Tuchert's been
he's not healthy. He's not
Okay.
hurt enough to miss games, but he's not healthy.
Well, maybe that's why I haven't really been so impressed. He's probably banged up, right? Tuchert's looked really good though, so he looked good against Seattle. He looked great against LA Galaxy. I think he scored a couple of goals. So it's not like it's a big step down. It's good. All those guys know how to play together. It's the Germans. We've talked about it before, right? Road game, not a crazy road trip, but definitely a road dog here that I like. Plus 126. I'm with you with all the absences. We have made money fading Philadelphia in this exact same spot the last two seasons when they've had this kind of players missing, like you said, in the spine. So I like it. Alrighty.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
think
first.
Cardinals plus 160 to score or assist. So you can sign me up for that.
Love that too. All right. Got the Seattle Sounders hosting the Houston Dynamo, a playoff rematch from last season. And another road dog is what I'm going to be back in here. I'm going to be taking Houston on the Asian handicap at plus 0.75. This one for me is just kind of a matchup play, right? Because you're looking at Seattle as a home favorite anywhere around minus 150, minus 155 to minus 160. I don't think they should be favored in this type of matchup because the way that Houston is going to play is it's going to be very similar to the way that Seattle wants to play. They're not going to take a ton of chances. They are going to limit Seattle to maybe some shots outside of the box, and they're going to be totally okay with that. They're going to be good defending set pieces. That's the type of team that Houston has been for the last couple of years under Ben Olsen. And I think the books are looking at this and saying Houston hasn't won a game this year, which they haven't. They've got 3 losses and 1 draw. That 1 draw was on the road against Columbus, and they held Columbus to like a half an expected goal. They arguably have looked better on the road this year than they have at home. Last week they created 2.15 chances to RSL's 0.9, and they lost 1-2 at home. So maybe some positive regression coming there. It's not like I'm like in love with this Houston team by any means. I just don't think Seattle should be favored against a team that is going to play, hard. They're going to be hard to break down. I think this 1-1 will not shock me. Houston winning this game 1-0 would not shock me. There's no way. This is just a value play for me. There's no way that I'm laying juice with Seattle here. Seattle's missing midfielder Vargas and also Nuhu, who's a big part of that defensive back line. Not a ton more about this one, man. I think this is a grimy, choppy, cagey game, and low scoring draw would not shock me.
So the first thing that sticks out to me here is the best player who's been called up and missing between these two sides is on Houston's side with Jack McGlynn. That That's the only thing that makes me raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
I don't like Seattle being a heavy favorite to a lot of teams right now. You're going to get that, like you said, when they're at home. I don't really have anything to say like, no, I don't like this play. This is one of the games that, like, when I said like there are games I'm not touching, this was on that list. I was like, I don't know why Seattle is this big of a favorite. They haven't looked good. Now, granted, we attacked them last week. Well, I mean, I did in my ads because of just all the offensive players they were missing. They still have some injury issues. I do like it though when Nuhu's not in for Seattle because the games just tend to be more open. So maybe that means Houston is able to actually work the ball a little more, get some more opportunities because Nuhu's not an actual like wing back. He is like a third CB playing out wide. So when you get that, you might actually be able to open up that Seattle side a little bit more. So that is probably my favorite aspect of this is that I do think this game opens up a little more, and that probably bodes well for the road team.
Fair enough. I'm 100% cool with that. Like I said, I didn't have a ton to say about that one other than no way Seattle should be favored. And Houston, their style arguably suits them better on the road. So rolling with Houston.
Seattle's
all right.
Just awful, man. Like their game totals, like in every game, like this is sitting at a just slightly juiced 2.25. Like that's just not fun.
Nah, it's not fun. Got you a combo play here. Yes.
So, it takes a lot for me to play my own team. So here we are playing Nashville Moneyline as they host Montreal. It's juiced outside of my juice tolerance. So we're going to add Orlando, both teams to score, which is probably my favorite parlay leg of the weekend. I really like the new blood that Nashville has brought in. They brought in two dudes who have just instantly become two of the better players in the team in Kasam and Eddie. And really those Nashville's best 11 has only been on the field for 2 games now since the Portland match. And they've won their last 2 games with that best 11. And I would say it's probably easily the best 11 they've had since they've been in the MLS. It's just a way better side than they were last year, the year before, when all those guys are healthy and out there.
Wow.
You also have
a big statement.
Oh yeah. But you also have an extremely young Montreal side who we've attacked for multiple seasons now when they're on the road. They have a bottom third defense with 6.2 expected goals against so far this season. And so I just see Nashville keeping things rolling here, man. It's a really good 11 side they've got going out there creating. They're just playing good ball. They're going to press. I like it when teams press young teams. I see them making mistakes here. While meanwhile, we go to Orlando versus DC. Orlando's missing a key defensive piece and starting goalkeeper Gillespie. And DC's attack has honestly surprised me this season. They are top 5 right now in expected goals in the league. And I just think this pairs well with Orlando's poor defensive metrics. And now you've got their starting goalkeeper out. So just 2 really strong plays that I love individually. Both are just outside my juice tolerance. So I put them together, and I think this is a heck of a value here.
Yeah, we've never, that's the one thing about the show. Anything 1 unit or more that we give out, we're going to track officially on the official record for the show when we do recaps and mid-season recaps and all that stuff. But we've never shied away from plus money. We're going to count them the same, win or lose, and this is one of those spots that looks really good with that plus 152 next to it. But yeah, Nashville, man. I feel like you might have had your dauber down a little bit first couple games this year, but that's turned around, huh?
Well, the team just wasn't healthy, man. Like Eddie wasn't out there to start the season. Kasam wasn't here. Yazbek wasn't, like, the team just wasn't healthy. And so it just took them a couple of games to get some people up to speed. I mean, like, the team's so good now. Like last year, Schaffelberg was the rave. Like that was what everybody was talking about because we got this speedy Canadian who just flies down. He's on the bench now.
Wow.
Like, so yeah, it's good. It's a good side. I'm still waiting for the defense to be an issue where if they come against a particularly athletic team, I thought it could happen against Philly because that's the team who's going to press, right? And if you press and force mistakes, I don't think that back line is fast enough to cover for those mistakes.
Gotcha.
But so far, it hasn't been an issue. And if Philly was where I expected it to happen, right? And they just went out and just dominated. And so, yeah, I think this is a great just keep feasting spot with Montreal coming to town.
I think so too, man. I think of all the home, well, not necessarily home, but of all the favorites, this is one of those that I feel comfortable putting in a couple of parlays with Nashville being at home, especially hearing how good you feel about them right now. That's definitely great. And then this other one, right? Orlando City hosting DC. Dude, I think DC figured out after that first game that they just need to continue to find a way to put the ball, anywhere from 6 to 8 feet in the air, so Benteke can just get that noggin on it and shoot some layups, basically, because that's basically what Benteke does in MLS. Doesn't have to be complicated, right? I'm glad that they figured that out. Orlando, meanwhile, these guys are going to be an over team all season. I mean, all 4 of their games have gone over. I think that's going to continue. It's just the style that they're playing right now. I saw that Marco Pasalic left the game late, and like a couple of my apps had like the little medical little emoji next to it, but I couldn't find anything official, so it might not have been. It might have just been a cramp or something minor, because I couldn't find anything.
Player availability reports. Wish I could talk. They come out tomorrow, I think 3 or 4 o'clock Eastern time. The MLS communications Twitter page will tweet those out in like an official form. And so we'll know more then. I haven't seen anything from any beat writers on him yet.
Yeah.
So we'll wait for that then. He can be out. I cap this with the potential of him being out, and I'm still A-okay, like with DC United's defense.
Yeah, Kendrick's asking Nahar is going to be called up for Honduras for Nashville. Is that not really a major concern?
No. So Alex Mule is like a Swiss Army knife, and so I think either he'll slot back there or who there was one other person I was looking at who might do it. If Gaines is healthy, they might slot Gaines the kid back there. Either way, I still expect speed on the wing back spot to keep it open, which is what Nashville wants to do. So
Yeah.
I'm not sweating that loss defensively. And it's against Montreal. If this is a better team, I think Nashville might feel this a little more, but they're not going to feel it against Montreal. At least they shouldn't. So no, this isn't a spot where I'm sweating Nahar not being there.
Cool. All right, on to the next one. All right, this is my second one for the show. New York Red Bull at home hosting Toronto. New York Red Bull, 1 loss, 1 win, 2 draws, including a game that, last week, 2-2 versus Orlando. They had the better metrics. Orlando had a couple of bangers in that one, but, New York Red Bull created 2.73 expected goals, 5 big chances. They're going to be hosting Toronto here, who has only created over a half an expected goal in one of their games this season. And to ice the cake, Toronto is going to be without Osorio, Tyrese Spicer, and Davy Flores in the midfield. So those are some pretty significant absentees for this Toronto team that's already really doesn't have an identity. They're dealing with the off the field issues, locker room issues with Insigne, who's their most talented player. He's not even playing, not going to play. So that's a whole nother can of worms. They're just bad right now. And New York Red Bull is a solid team, and I expect them to be. There's no way they're overlooking anybody in the league after that game last week, ending 2-2 against Orlando. They felt like they should have won that game. So I'm going to back them. I'm keeping it simple. New York Red Bull on the money line. I think if New York Red Bull shows up here, it's a game that they could cruise to, 3-0 type cruising.
Yeah, we were on Red Bulls last weekend, and that was winning outside of Raheem Edwards, who went the full 90 that game. Had only done 45 the game before and 20 minutes the game before that. So it was still building up to game speed fitness, I would say.
Yeah.
Just lost where he was in the field and kept a dude on side on a over the top ball, and it was just an easy goal. Outside of that mistake, like that dude's offsides, Red Bulls win that game. They played exactly like we expected them to last week. And sometimes you just don't get that result. I'm love backing them here again. I think I'm going to end up on their team total. Cornell, their starting goalkeeper, is out. I did think about both teams to score here. That's playable.
What is the team total at?
It's almost identical to the money line. Like depending on your book, one of them is going to be cheaper, either the money line or the team total. I think last book I looked at, it was like minus 136. Yeah. So it just depends on your book if you shop it around. I'm okay with either line, by the way, like money line or team total. It was just with Cornell being out. If Toronto gets one, obviously Red Bulls have to have two to score to win. But there was a lot of different ways I was looking to play this game. Red Bulls plus both teams to score, Red Bulls plus over 1.5. Like I think there's just different ways to play this if depending on what your juice tolerance is, right? So no matter what you do, you can cook up something with Red Bulls, and I think we would both say it gives a thumbs up from us. But yeah, I like Red Bulls. The biggest kicker here, man, is Flores missing for Toronto. I always love attacking Toronto when he's not in the midfield anchoring it. They just give up more goals, man. And so, I dig Red Bulls this weekend.
Fantastic. All right. Without further ado, we get to our first official 2-unit release of the season. And we are looking at Cincinnati hosting Atlanta United.
Yes. And this line has already moved. When I looked at it, right after the weekend into Monday, after we knew who was getting called up, just got some injury news, it was still plus money. It's now minus 110, and it's the over 3. So just playing the full game total here, over 3. It is going to be for 2 units at minus 110 still. I expect this line to keep moving. As it moves up, you might scale back. Again, your risk tolerance, your juice tolerance, that's for you to decide. Before I get into personnel news, we'll just go over some numbers here. Where Cincy has a 6.1 expected goals against through 4 games. Atlanta has 6.2 expected goals against through that same period. So that's 1.55 expected goals a game average for each side this season so far. Both teams ranked second in big chances created. If you've watched this show long enough, you know that's a metric that I love to watch and just kind of wait for it to time right. And so as you see teams climbing up that big chances created stat, but have had issues scoring, like Atlanta, where they went 2 games just scoreless, that's when you want to start timing that. Like they say, don't like time the market and stuff, but that's a metric that you can watch, and you can start timing that and start jumping on that train as it starts picking up steam. So I like that both these teams are creating well. Now we'll get into the personnel issues. Almiron's out for Atlanta. Dinke is out for Cincinnati. 2 huge pieces for both their attacks. I get that. But both teams still have game changers on their roster. Atlanta still has Latte Loth. Cincinnati still has Evander. So I have no problem there. The big reason why we are attacking this game is I think there is somewhere between 8 and 9 center backs for both these teams combined who are not available. Atlanta's missing, I think, 5 center backs and they're starting defensive midfielder. So that spine is completely broken. You're going to have guys who have seen no time yet this season, guys who might not have seen any time with Atlanta yet, going to be starting. Since he's probably missing 4 center backs, Flores is suspended. Hadibi is getting his green card. He is not going to be available this weekend. So both are for sure out. Miles Robinson went down last game with a hamstring issue. I highly doubt we see him. And the Miazga is still tending to a long-term injury. So that those CVs are gone. So I have game changers here, and just both spines completely shattered. Like this is a game I'm absolutely attacking for goals. We might talk about this game a little more later on the show too, but yeah, this just feels like a ripe spot where like how many players are missing on each side. There's going to be chances. Of course, these teams have to convert them, but I do. I like the opportunity here. And so yeah, we're going to attack it at this price for 2 units.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Should be a really fun one. And I love the approach. Some people may be looking at it and seeing a couple of the absentees in the attack and be a little bit gun shy about it, but all those defensive mids and center backs missing is a way bigger deal, because the amount of chances that we're going to see, I think, goes up. And these are already teams that have created chances in bunches. And the absentees that are going to be there, you have guys that, are going to come in that are serviceable. I could see Price Santos gets the start. For Dinky, who he's good. I mean, like he's going to score chances. You got other guys in Atlanta that were there last year that know the system. It'll be it'll be a seamless transition there. I think there's going to be tons of chances. You're right about timing it. I mean, Atlanta, they've got to start going in at some point, right? So no better opportunity than a game that you're probably going to see even more chances. So there it is, our first 2-unit release of the season. Garrett and I both really like this one. We got some bonus bets for you guys today as well. We're looking at some player props.
So yeah, I do get pinged about player props almost weekly. And so now that we know some people who are going to be missing, yeah, we're going to hunt here. Just player props. Like I think Cooper said, like, these aren't going to count toward the show. I'll be on them though, for sure. That's why I'm giving them out. So I'll tweet them out as well. First one is we're going to stay with the Cincinnati Atlanta game, where I've got Evander 2+ shots on target for +205. And I'm going to fire on that for a half unit here, because with no Dinke, Evander is just going to have to take over that offense. We've seen him nail bangers in Portland. Like, this dude has golazos in the locker, like, when he wants to. Now I'm getting inexperienced center backs who might not step up to him in time, right? Because Evander's one of those players where you have to attack him early. If you give him space, he's just going to rip shots. Without having to feed a high price number 9, I think he takes more shots here. I don't think that defense maybe steps up to him like they should, at least not early in the game. And so I think at 2 shots on target, which is it's not easy, but I was just doing some math. This man's basically played 3 full games. Okay. He missed some time. He's got 10 shots. 70% of those shots have been on target. He's averaging a shot about every 28 minutes. So there's definitely opportunity for this to hit. And at this price, I just can't pass it up. Now you've got to shop here. Especially in the domestic books, this price is different depending on where you are. But at +205, I'm absolutely going to take a shot here.
Love it. Yeah, I'm with you. I think he goes crazy on this one. And he's never been a guy to shy away from taking on a shot himself. So I think knowing the player here is gives us a good look, given the absences. All right, on to LAFC.
So there's going to be no Bouanga. We know that. He got called up. And LAFC's attack has not been scary. I get that. But I did like what I saw from Under in his debut. Someone's going to have to drive this attack versus an abysmal Sporting Kansas City side. And I think Under could present some nice funneling, because Nathan Ordaz, another forward, he got called up as well. So, like, I don't know who else. I even looked at David Martinez props. Like, I think this is going to be a game where he gets some time. But Under, I really liked what I saw from Under last week. And so I just need him to get a score and assist. Like, there's going to be somebody attacking. I think Under's the best bet to attack. And this is a guy who will stay on the wing or will drive inside. Like, he will do either. So getting his score or assist prop at plus 155, given the scenario where, like, again, somebody has to take over this LAFC attack. And I don't think it's going to be a 17, 18-year-old Martinez. This just feels like a good spot, man, for him to get his name on the score sheet and for us to attack it here, given who's missing.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't get a chance to watch him play, but I mean, just giving the guys that are out, it seems like he's going to be doing a lot of the creating. So,
And depending on what your juice tolerance is, him just to have 2 shots is minus 165.
oh
I can almost guarantee he's going to have 2 shots in this game.
yeah,
And so, again, it's a juice tolerance issue. Like, I totally get if you want to use that as like a parlay leg or something like that, but absolutely 2 shots is my favorite prop of the weekend from him.
fantastic. All righty then. Gave out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 official show plays, 2 player props, released our first 2 unit of the season. We'll absolutely be watching that one. Very excited to see how that one turns out. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. A lot of people may not even realize that Major League Soccer is still, the show's still going on this weekend. So share with your friends. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at MLSLIVE Podcast. And shoot, that's all I got, Garrett. Anything?
That's it, man. Again, be selective what you're playing this weekend. With all the guys missing, just make sure you got the info, the accurate info, because variance will be higher. And as always, best of luck to whatever you're on.
All right, guys. See you next week.